want to take time today to mark a very somber moment in the history of Hidalgo County. 1 year ago, I signed orders declaring a disaster because of a local health emergency. COVID-19 was raging around the world and would soon visit our community. I'm standing on the stage of the McAllen Performing Arts Center, not because of its beauty, but because it can help us all visualize the impact of this disease. I look out at a sea of empty chairs and realize that we could fill this venue 1.5 times with those who have died from this virus. I am saddened and humbled by the devastating power of this disease. While our lives are improving, we cannot yet declare victory over COVID-19. We can use this anniversary to reflect, and while we mourn what these empty seats represent, we must always remember that we should also celebrate the countless heroes of our community who could fill this venue 10 times over. I'd like to share a short video remembrance before I make an important announcement.
It was a year of uncertainty and chaos. A year of isolation and exhaustion. A year of tragedy and devastation. Yet, it was also a year of perseverance, hope, and reflection. Much like the rest of the world, our Hidalgo County community endured something unprecedented and unimaginable. And yet, we emerged from it with strength in our hearts. We take a look back at what this year has done to each and every one of us, and how we overcame it. On the afternoon of Tuesday, March 17, 2020, surrounded by the mayors of all 22 municipalities, Hidalgo County Judge Richard F. Cortez signed an unprecedented document declaring a local disaster due to a public health emergency. The move was in keeping with similar events happening throughout the world, surrounding a new strain of coronavirus that would ultimately be known as COVID-19. The global pandemic had reached our doorstep. Within days, Judge Cortez would impose more restrictions to try and stave off this virus, from implementing a shelter-at-home order to requiring all citizens to wear masks. These crucial decisions were made as our community struggled with the ever-changing developments of this deadly disease.
When the pandemic hit us here in Hidalgo County, it was all new to us, and we were all learning and trying to receive the best information possible. And every day we would gather in what became the war room, got together and with the health director, with our medical authority, and myself, chief of staff, others, to talk about what we thought would be the best approach in leading this county in this pandemic. And we didn't have a book of wisdom, so we had to kind of try to learn from best practices from other areas, apply them here. And of course, it was new to our citizens. So our citizens, it was equally as alarming and as new to them. So it was quite a challenge, and obviously it was also an emotional ride.
The unpredictability of this disease would challenge our community and our government leaders.
Trying to figure out how we deal with this pandemic together. For us, we've had to think outside the box and try to find a new way to try to assist people in our community. This is a different type of response, and for our staff it has been extremely important to try to work together along with the other chiefs of staff and within the leadership at the county to try to figure out the best way to respond to try to protect our people and serve them in a different way.
People losing their homes, not being able to pay for things that they normally pay for. But at the end of the day, the silver lining is that we came together as a community, we came together as a country, we came together as a state and as a world, because this pandemic didn't just happen here in Hidalgo County. This pandemic was worldwide, and we were all in this together.
Along with first responders, the medical community, and government workers, a new group of heroes emerged in our society, the essential worker. From truck drivers hauling in goods, to everyone working in our grocery stores, to the people delivering items to our homes. These are the people whose burden it became to keep our lives going. We owe our lives to the healthcare professionals who are by our side as we battled the disease alone without our families. We owe our lives to the grocers restocking the shelves day and night, and to the janitors sanitizing our offices and stores every hour. To our teachers who had to take their teachings into virtual classrooms. The pandemic affected every aspect of our lives. We had to change and adapt to the new times we were living in. Focus on what was truly important.
You know, we no longer look at all these extravagant things. It's all about family, God. It's been, a different time, but at the same time, we prioritize what's most important to us. We've also understood how important our family is. And, it's been hard. It's been hard to see our parents, our family members that don't live in our household. So I think more than anything, we've learned to prioritize what's the most important to all of us, which is God and family.
While it's hard to see that there's positive in this pandemic, there truly is some positive in that it brought so many people together. It brought us to value the things that are really important. And one of those very first things is your family. Because at the end of the day, that's who's going to be there for you. And aside from that, the community, the leaders, the people that bring resources to us, we got to see all that come together.
Many of us have lost someone close to us to COVID. This past year brought unimaginable changes to the way we live. The overwhelming number of cases reported in Hidalgo County took us all by surprise. However, even at our lowest, Hidalgo County residents showed their resilience by adapting and working together as a community.
The best news was to really see the community get together, knowing and understanding that this effort was an important effort. To see the volunteers, to see the cities, the schools, the nurses, the law enforcement people, the first responders, all for one goal and one goal only, and that is to protect the safety and the health of our community.
Compounded with the isolation of social distancing, the loss of life took a big toll on our mental well-being.
I think probably one of the lowest moments that we experienced here is when we started having deaths occur because of the pandemic. On top of that, you add insult to injury. We had a hurricane that passed through here in July, just compounding the misery and the difficulties of what we are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So I think all of that combined, just the anxiety and the loss. Every one of our people is valuable, from the first to the last. And for us to have to lose people because of a pandemic, it's really probably one of the hardest things and lowest points of this last year.
Through the turmoil, suffering, and death came resilience. The residents of Hidalgo County banded together as neighbors.
The schools have stepped up, the county has stepped up, the cities have stepped up, and they've tried to find different ways to try to relieve the hardships that people are going through.
COVID has definitely brought our community closer and has made us a more resilient people.
This has been a learning experience for all of us. We've learned that working together gives us better results, and I'm looking forward to continue to do that and trying to solve the many problems that we have in Hidalgo County.
We acknowledge moments of despair, but always, always we rallied as neighbors, as family, and as a society set on helping one another weather this invisible enemy.
We've always been able to get through anything, whether it's been a hurricane, some kind of natural disaster. We're like a big happy family here in Hidalgo County, and we support each other and we help each other through the tough times, and we enjoy the good times together.
Back in April 2020, we hosted our first COVID-related food distribution. I never thought that a year later we would still be hosting COVID-related food distribution events. It has been incredible to see so many of our community members come together to help those who have been affected by COVID.
We recall the early days of this pandemic, when tests were at a premium because they were in such short supply, much as we now treat the COVID-19 vaccine.
The early estimates that we would be out of this in 2 months, then 4 months, and then 6 months, and here we are a year later, dealing with a pandemic still, but thank God we have the vaccine now, and so hopefully the vaccine will help us get out of this in the next few months.
We use this day not to declare this pandemic is over. We know enormous challenges remain before we can declare victory, but as a day to reflect on the hardship thrust upon us and the inspirational manner in which our people responded.
We are the vaccine. Our human behavior is what's going to make or break us. And the resiliency that this human race has shown with this pandemic is admirable. And let us not forget that. Let us not forget to focus on the important things in life and always protect yourself, protect your family, and be safe.
I think that the future is much brighter than what the past has been for all of us. But for us to be resilient as a community, to make it through the pandemic, to make it through a hurricane, to make it through a freeze, we have succeeded, we have survived, and we will continue to do so, and we'll continue to do so in a way that honors those that are here now and those that have been lost.
We use this day to express our gratitude to the heroic response we witnessed in often the most unlikely of corners. There's the healthcare workers who offered care in a dangerous environment filled with uncertainty. The business people who overcame huge logistical challenges to continue to serve our community. The essential workers who redefined our most basic needs that have been taken for granted by a functioning society. And our own county employees who worked tirelessly to help us understand this terrible disease, who helped us overcome our trepidations, who monitored, reported, and helped set the standard for care in our community. In its essence, this is the definition of community. As we look forward, we see a new day is coming for all of us here in Hidalgo County.
But we had one commandment, and that is to administer to the needs of others. And when you think about that, if we do all that, then all of us will be taken care of, because everybody else is going to be taking care of ourselves. So that is the spirit that this county, has to follow. I'm looking forward to a very, very good future, a prosperous future, for our children, for ourselves.
As we have declared before, far from showing retreat, we are showing resolve. That is who we are in Hidalgo County.
As we reflect on this past year, we realize that this has been a terrible disease that has changed the lives of everyone in Hidalgo County. So I'm creating a Citizens Task Force to come up with recommendations for a permanent memorial for this pandemic and its effect on Hidalgo County. First and foremost, I want this task force to recommend a fitting honor to those who have lost their lives to this terrible disease. But the task force should also recommend how to best memorialize our community's inspiring response to this pandemic. I'm also seeking a recommended venue for this memorial, a recommended budget, and a recommendation of how to best fund this memorial. I'm asking each commissioner to appoint a member to this task force with the aim of returning recommendations by July 1. I want this memorial to honor the dead, but also to celebrate those who endured. I'm so grateful that what I see is a strengthened sense of community. That is what I'm hoping most to memorialize. Nearly 80,000 of us contracted this virus, including myself. More importantly, nearly 2,700 have so far died from this disease. We end this broadcast by remembering them. With the help of the Friends of the McAllen Fire Department, we remember with a simple toll of a bell. Each of the 27 tolls represents the deaths of 100 of our loved ones. As we listen to the tolling, we watch this arena slowly lighting up to reveal empty seats, representing the loss of loved ones and the enormous emptiness in our hearts. May God bless you, and may God bless Hidalgo County.